Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This is Yinky. I want to appreciate all my subscribers and non-subscribers for your love and support all the way. Thanks and God bless you. Today I shall be making the princess style line dress. I have done a video on how to cut this type of dress, but today we shall be doing the sewing of this same dress. So let's get started.
Now the sewing. So we are going to start from the front. So you're going to start by placing the front block, and this is what you have. This is the facing. I have iron and interfacing on the facing. You're going to place the right side of the interfacing on the right side of the bodice like so. Place the right side facing it, then stitch by 1/2 inch like so. Just follow the direction of the neckline. Then after you have done that, I stitch by 1/2 inch. The next thing is to notch. Notch carefully, don't let it touch the thread so that it won't cut the thread. Just notch carefully. The reason why we are doing this is to relax the neckline. I will top stitch very close to the sewing allowance. So this is the neckline of the front. You can see the way it relaxed. That's the work of the top stitching. So the next thing is to join the panels, the side panels together. So I'm going to join through from the hip line to the armhole. So I will make sure it's a pencil. It brings a pencil shape like I'm inputting a dart. So I'll make sure it's tiny from the beginning before I will now follow 1/2 inch sewing allowance. So I'll make sure it's tiny from the beginning, that my stitch is tiny from the beginning, very tiny, like a pencil shape. It will be like a pointed shape from the beginning. Then I'll continue with 1/2 inch by the time I get, even before I get to the waistline, I'll continue with 1/2 inch. I'm chalking that 1/2 inch out. So I'll go like so. So I'll be showing you two methods here. You can leave it like this, and after I finish this method, I'll show you another method you can also use for your dress. So we are going to join this by 1/2 inch. You must be careful when you get to the breast point, and that's where I am. You must be very careful. Make sure it does not run put together. Do it slowly and gently so as to get a nice shape. Make sure it's not pointed, and this is the end of the joining of the first panel, and this is what I have. As you can see the breast point is not pointed. It's very okay. So having done that, the next thing to do is to join the second panel. As you can see, and before I started cutting, I cut in the direction of stretch is horizontal, not vertical. That means it stretches to my side and not on the length. It stretches on the circumference and not on the length. So I notice a bulging here because of the nature of the material. So I will not do, I'm doing another method for this dart. This dart, I'll close up the dart. So I'll be starting from the 1/2 inch down. You know, so I'm going to follow that 1/2 inch from the waistline down to the hemline. That's what I want to do now. I want to close up the dart that is on the hip. I want to close the dart up because I don't want any bulging. This is the front. It's not going to accommodate the back side. So it will just be bulging there. So I don't want that. I want everything to be smooth. So you can leave it like this If your material is not a stretchy material, it will be nice. It won't budge, it won't. But because this is a stretchy material, I don't really like what I'm seeing. Then so I'm doing a straight style line. So you can make your dress like this also. It is acceptable. I'm making a straight style line down. I'm not ending my dart line on the hip line. I'll bring it down to the hem line. And what I have done to this side, I will repeat it for. So anyone you do is acceptable. If you end your dart on the hip or you bring your own down also, whichever one you prefer. So this is one of the back panel. This is the neckline. So I'll bring the facing. And then, okay, before I bring the facing will not be the first thing you will do on the back panel. The first thing you will do, you will fix your zip before you even fix your facing. So the next thing to do is to join the panels together by 1/2 inch. Start tiny from the beginning. Then when you get to almost the waistline, continue with 1/2 inch sewing allowance. Then continue like so till you get to the armhole. So this is it. So I will be doing the second one. I have not removed the first one I did just now from the machine. I will continue with I just want my work to be fast. That's why I'm doing like that. I will continue with the second one. Fix it. Join the panels together. Then through to the armhole. Let it continue like that through to the armhole. And then don't mind the way I use my hand to cut thread. So I just want everything to be quick and fast because I have a lot of things to do. Please use your scissors so as not to get rid of the work you have done. So this is, you can see the dart, where the dart is ending. You can see it's bulging, but it's allowed because of the back side. Our back side is it can accommodate the back side like this. You can see this part will be able to accommodate
the back side. So this is the sewing allowance, the zipper allowance, and I have the center back here. So the zipper allowance will go like so, and it will end 2 inches after the hip line. And the reason why it's 2 inches after the hip line as you are coming from the hem line is because so that the dress will be easy to wear. So I'm going to stop that means the zipper allowance will stop at that point. 2 inches is when you are coming from the shoulder, it will be 2 inches before the hip line. But when you are coming from the hem line, it will be 2 inches after the hip line. So at this point, I'm going to lose the zipper allowance up again because I have stitched it with a loose stitch. I will lose it up till I get to 2 inches before the hip line, since this is from the shoulder. So I'm going to lose it up to that point. Then I'm going to reverse my stitch, and when I get there, the next thing to do is to fix my zipper. So I have a video on this channel on how to fix an invisible zipper, so the link will be attached to this video. So here, since the zipper has been fixed, the next thing is to open it up, and I have the facing with me. This is the facing for the back. So the zipper allowance has been renotched. So as the one I'm holding right now is not the right one for this side. So this is the right one for the side I want to fix now. So I'll notch the zipper, then place it like so. So I'm first of all going to consider the teeth of my zipper. Then I'm going to chalk, like mark the zipper, the sewing allowance on the facing. 1/2 inch sewing allowance is what I'll be using. So I'm going to stitch by 1/2 inch and also close to the zipper teeth 1/2 inch also. Then I'll go ahead and notch it, cut away the sewing allowance because I'll be turning to the wrong side of the back. So I need to cut out the sewing allowance very well so that that place will not be bulky. So I'll also notch so that it will be flat, then the facing will lay well. So you can also top stitch on the facing also if you like. So I'll turn to the right side, and this is what I'll have. So after placing the facing, this is what you have. You can see it's very beautiful. So having done one side, I'll go ahead and do the other side also. As I have told you that I'm going to open the zipper allowance up as if I want to fix the zipper. Then I will be stitching the neckline first with half of an inch before I'll go ahead and stitch very close to the teeth of the zipper. So go ahead and notch. You're going to notch and make sure you did not cut your thread. So I'll go ahead right here and stitch very close to the zipper. Mind you, I'm doing the second side. I've done one side and I'm doing the second side. So if you didn't get the first side that I did, you should be able to get this side. So then I'm going to cut out the sewing allowance. As I have told you, you cut out the sewing allowance right away to avoid bulkiness while you are turning to the right side. And having done this, the neckline is fixed and is ready.
Come out. So I'm trying to use my scissors to tuck it out. So this is the right side. So the neckline has been turned with the facing, so I can zip up. You can see how it is. One zipper is no longer than the other. When you are fixing, make sure you do not pull. When you are fixing your zipper, don't pull your fabric, especially when you're dealing with stretchy fabric.
So go ahead and join your shoulder to shoulder. So there are two methods you can use. You can join it straight like so, or you can use the wrap method. So if you are joining it straight, you're just going to use half-inch sewing allowance to join it like so. The right side of each shoulder matching with the right side of each other. So that's the first method you can use, or you can use the method of wrap. So this wrap method is like so. Just fold it up. One will be inside and you will use another shoulder to wrap up the first shoulder. So then place it on your machine and stitch by half-inch like so. So I'll go ahead and use that method here and stitch by half-inch. So having done that, so the result, this is the result. Having done that, you can turn it to the right side, and this is what you have. You can see how neat it is, and it is not bulky. So make sure that this mid shoulder is aligning with each other. So here you're going to take your measurement, input all the measurements starting from the bust. So the bust measurement, the vertical measurement is what I'll be inputting here. Bust 10, under bust 14 for this client, half length 16 or waist, and hip line is 25. The hip line is 25. So whatever I have input here, I will input on the other side also. So this is vertical measurement, bust 10. The same way I did for one side, I will repeat for the other side. Under bust 14, half length 16, and hip, the hip length is 25. So after I have done the vertical measurement, I'll go ahead and input all the horizontal measurements. So the circumference measurement is what I want to input now. Since the bust circumference is 36, divided by 4 will be 9. I will input 9. I'll go to the under bust. Since the under bust circumference is 28, I will input 7. And since the half length also, or waist, is 28 in circumference, I will input 7. And also on the hip, since the hip is 38, I'm going to input 9.5. So this is a very good video for a beginner. If you are a beginner, this video is the best video for you. You're going to understand every process in this video. So just connect your points like so. So I'm using my free hand to connect it, to connect my points, and make sure it is coffee like, and it brings out the feminine shape by the time you input the measurement. So, and this measurement is a perfect measurement for a figure 8. So like a size 8 individual. So I'm going to go ahead from that point. I'll just connect down to the hemline, like so. So for a beginner, you can just remove 1 inch from the hip measurement. Since the hip measurement is 9.5, you can input on the hemline 8.5 and connect it straight away to the hip line. So here, what I have done to one side, to this, the first side, is what I'm doing to the other side. I'll just replace all the measurements also, input it like so, and connect it the way I did in the former one that I have just did now. So the next thing to do is to trim off the excess sewing allowance. So if you have excess sewing allowance, after you have input all your measurements, you are free to trim it off. And the reason to why I'm doing this is to avoid bulkiness and to make sure the side seam is very flat. So the next thing to do is to put hemming gum. You can see hemming gum on the screen. So that hemming gum is 1 inch. So since my hemming allowance is 1 inch also, I'm going to put the hemming gum inside. You can see it's inside already. Then I'll fold up by 1 inch hemming allowance that I input on the pattern paper and iron it in. So everywhere I want to hem, I'll be using the hemming gum to do that. So I'll also be hemming this. This is the center front. I'll also be hemming it like so. I'll fold it up on 1 inch hemming allowance and iron it flat also. So this process can also be done by stitching. If you like, you can do it by stitching. And if you are using a lining, you're definitely going to use the lining to turn it up, and that will not be difficult at all. So having done this, I'm going to iron it flat. Then I'll go ahead, the measurement that I input, I'm going to stitch like so, following the chalk. So I'm going to stitch following the chalk. I will stitch like so. The dress is getting ready. So this is the slit, the back slit. Now I told you we are going to put an underlay. That underlay will be pleated on the back slit so that the slit will not be opened. So I'm going to put, this is the underlay that I'm holding. I'll be stitching it by half of an inch to either sides of the back slit. So this is the sewing allowance, the zipper allowance. So on the zipper allowance, I will stitch by half inch on the center back slit. So I'll be stitching by half inch here. Then having done this, I'll go to the other side also, the other side of the zipper allowance on the back slit. I'll also stitch it by half of an inch. So you can see it's not something difficult at all. So having done that, follow the stitch that comes from the zipper allowance. So from this zipper allowance that I'm touching, there is a stitch that comes from it. So restitch from the line, from this chalk, the chalk that I'm tracing here, restitch. So because I lose the stitch while I want to fix the underlay, so you're going to stitch it back. And the essence of stitching it back is because we want to hold a box pleat on that part and we want it to form well. So that's why I'm going to stitch it again. Actually, I will go ahead, I will lose it after I have done the box pleat and I have pressed it. I'm going to still lose it back. So having done that, since you have stitched it, you're going to open it up like so. Open it flat, then mark where the box pleat will stay. So fold this into two. The underlay you want to pleat, fold it into two and notch. That means you're notching the center. So having done that, chalk the center like so, so that it will be clear to you. So you're going to match the center back. That's where I just touched the center back with the center of the underlay. So you will now start pleating on each side. So you first of all hold ½ inch on one side. Then what you do to one side, you do to the other side. Hold another ½ inch on the other side. Then make sure the keys are the center. That's the essence of the notch. So make sure the keys are the center back. Make sure the keys on the center back and at the center notch that you place on the underlay you are pleating. So hold the pleat like you are holding a box pleat. So I have a video on how to make a box pleat skirt on my channel. I'm going to add the link in the description box. So hold it again. So I'm holding the third pleat right now. I'll hold the third one on this side also. As I'm holding it, I'm making sure the keys are the center, that they meet at the center. That's what I mean. So go ahead and hold it until there is no fabric to hold again, until you don't have any fabric. I mean the underlay has finished. You don't have any fabric to hold again. Just make sure you hold it. As you are holding on one side, you're meeting it up with the other side. That's how to do it perfectly. Then after I'm done with this part, I'll go ahead and use office pin to hold it down so that it will not scatter again. So I'll hold it down with office pin. Then I will turn to the right side to stitch it on an horizontal line. Just the stitch is just to hold all you have pleated, is to hold it down in place. So I'll turn to the right side like so. You can see how I'm doing it. Turn to the right side, open it up. So the essence of turning to the right side is not, you are not holding it on the right side yet. So you'll be holding all the pleats down on the wrong side, but you must turn to the right side so that there is no fabric is under it. You are not holding the center front on together with the pleat. So you're going to pull all fabric away from what you want to hold here. So you need to push all the fabric back. So you're going to only hold the pleat like so. So I have removed the pin while I want to hold the pleats together. I removed the pin and I held it together with my stitch right now. You can see it's 3 stitches to hold it together. The length is not more than 1.5 or 2 inches is okay. So you can see the stitch has been held together. So right now I'll go ahead. So this is the pleat. So the way I pleated it, I'll go ahead and hold it like so, one by one, then press it. I'll go ahead and hold it one after the other and press it. So you need your iron to be hot here so as to be able to press it well and nicely. So I'll go ahead and do that. And having done that, After you have pressed it well on either side, on both sides, on both sides, after you have pressed it well, you can see, you can go ahead and loose the stitch that you ran the other time. That means you must make sure the stitch is a loose stitch. So if you have a seam ripper, please don't use scissors like me. So when I'm using scissors, I make sure I'm very careful while using this. You can use a seam ripper to do this. Then when you get to the straight stitch, you stop. So you have your side, your center back slit replaced with a box pleat. So this is what you have. You can see they call it kissy pleat in a layman language. So you press it again and it's very lovely. It's looking nice. You can still press it after losing it. Pick all the thread, remove all the thread, and this is what you have. You can see it's beautiful. And we have come to the end of this tutorial. You can see the front, though my client is bustier than this mannequin, but you can still see that it's aligning well. You can see the side, you can see how beautiful it is. This is the back. You can see the zipper. If you don't know how to fix an invisible zipper, I have a link on my channel that can explain how to do that. So this is the box pleat at the back, and you can see the hip. You can see that it's lovely. So don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video. Then I will see you in my next video. Until then.